Hello, everybody. Welcome to the table. Welcome to the grown folks table. Are you all ready to have some grown folks conversation tonight?
Oh, yes.
Oh, Lord, let's do it.
Go.
Well, I'm so excited to be here with my co-host. I've been waiting to get to the table because we have so much to talk about. First, let's start off by introducing ourselves. My name is Elisha V. Cash, and I am the founder and president of the National Women's Empowerment Ministry, and I am also the author of the Little Red Networking book.
Hey, everybody. I'm Joyce Littell. I am the brand manager of News and Talk 1380 WAOK and host of The Quiet Storm on V103. Both stations are right here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Good evening, and I'm Dolores Grizzle, the immediate past chapter president of the 100 Black Women Decatur DeKalb chapter.
Hi, everyone. This is Vicki B. Turner, and I am the elected board official for DeKalb County School District, and I am enjoying this virtual space. My husband and I, Robert Turner, we have a monthly initiative called DeKalb Cultural Exchange, where we bring relevant issues with relevant people to our communities. Good to be here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Libya Bakar, and I am the founder and owner of Sugar Plum Events, an event facility here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also the and founder of the Annual Girlfriends Brunch, a brunch that we host every New Year's Day, and we're working on our brunch for this coming New Year's. And I also bake. I also do a whole bunch of things. I like to say all the time that, like everyone else on this panel, I am a woman of many hats. Welcome to the table.
Well, welcome to the table tonight. We are joined by a good friend of ours that's no stranger to the grown folks table, Reverend Dr. D. Dawkins Hagler, and she is a woman that wears many hats as well. She was a previous Georgia General Assembly, she was a part of the General Assembly. She's also the chair of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus. She chaired the Georgia Women Legislative. She is a political strategist, advocate for women and girls, and we're just so happy to have her at the table tonight. Yes. Welcome, Dee. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was trying to find the link so I could share this. So party. But I'm going to be here. Go to your page. Okay, let me go to your page. Okay, so thank y'all for having me tonight.
Hey. Well, we have so much to talk about, and we're not going to we're just gonna go ahead and dive into it. So much is going on since the last time we got together. It's hard to kind of keep up. This has been a contentious election process. I think everyone has been on pins and needles at the edge of their seat, watching this whole process just kind of play out. We were hoping for a very peaceful transfer once we got the numbers we wanted and the victory that we wanted to see. But as I said the last time, Trump got to have a Trump show, and the president is not happy. And so he's wearing his feelings on his shoulders, and him and his allies are refusing to concede the election. So, Dee, we know that this is very distasteful in how he's responding, but is this dangerous? Tell us, what does it mean not to concede an election for so many days and not to be responsive in the transfer of power from one president to the president-elect?
Basically, what it means is that you are irresponsible and that you are not a real patriot like they like to claim themselves to be, and that you are trying to delegitimize our electoral process and the government, and you ought to be ashamed of yourselves, but he can't be ashamed of himself because he's Donald J. Trump, and all of the people that follow him are falling in line instead of getting him in line. So again, like you started off saying, this is the Trump circus. This is the show, and we all a part of it. So we just got to let it play itself on out and let the whole world look at us and, just laugh at America. That's what we're going to do.
Vicki, tell me, how are you feeling these days watching this play out on every major channel all day, waiting or having some hope that Trump will come out or the Republican Party will come out and just kind of put this whole thing to rest?
Hold on, let me get my drink. I couldn't resist it. I'm sorry. Because you really need some help to endure this season. You know what? I wanted to say this, and Dee, it's so good to have you again. It's always good to have you. You always bring a spark of laughter that we remember for days to come. I wasn't surprised. There's been nothing that has surprised me. And I don't think any of us, because, as Maya Angelou said, when somebody show you who they are, right, Libby, we believe them. He has shown us for the last 4 years, if plus, who he is. And even beyond that, it's disappointing. I won't say that it's not. It's disappointing. And I'm going to tell you something. I think of things in terms of our generations to come. I'm so disappointed for our children. I'm so just disappointed for our young people. I'm so disappointed that we have people who believe they not only did they drink the Kool-Aid, but unlike Jim Jones followers, they drank the Kool-Aid and they died. But these people drinking the Kool-Aid and they're going strong. So I don't know what's in that Kool-Aid. And I probably shouldn't say anything. It's not a funny thing, but it's sad that we have people in our communities far and wide who believe this foolishness. And so it's got to play out. But what I do love, and I have not been shocked either about the Biden-Harris camp. I have been pleased with the level of professionalism. I have been pleased with the determination to follow through. And there is a sense of class. There's a sense of poise. There's a sense of confidence. Oh, nothing will stop the show. It will move forward. So I think Joe is going to get everything he needs to go forward with the plan. And so I'm impressed. I'm encouraged that that little noise in the corner, just don't give it any attention. Keep your eye on the prize, and that prize is that we, the Democratic Party, the party for the people, will occupy the White House come January 20th.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I think my thing is I know what the outcome now is going to be. Once we got there on Saturday, anything that man said after that, I just didn't care. I mean, because, he was just being himself. He was just being what we have witnessed throughout his, life at the White House. So this is just another, act that he's playing out. And I'm like, man, you're going to be deuces in a few minutes. Just do you and going out the way. So, my excitement is still the end result. The Biden-Harris, election and the results of that, and then turning Georgia blue. I mean, just excited about that. So all the foolishness that he does, then, just don't even pay any attention, because he's not going to have his way. That's just not, I don't care what he says, what he does. Yep. He's not going to have his way. Everybody who voted and people who were counting the votes knew that this day was going to come. And I think they went in there knowing that, look here, I need to make sure this stuff is done right, because they will not be calling my name saying I messed up. So I think they had that, in their heads going in, knowing what they had to deal with this man. So my thing is staying on the joy side of knowing that, the soul of America is coming back and has been placed back in good hands.
Yes. Yeah. I'm still excited, and they're not going to take my joy away, because this is truly a remarkable moment for our democracy. And I think that Joe Biden is the official president-elect, and Kamala Harris is the official elect vice president, and they have made history, and he is not going to take this joy away no matter what he's trying to do. Now, I do know that Senator James Langford is kind of standing in his corner, and I want to see what's going to happen tomorrow, because he's talking about if he doesn't change by tomorrow, Friday, then he's going to step in. So I was really hoping that there are some Republicans there with some kind of sense that continue to allow this to go on, that he will not concede. You know when his own wife is saying he needs to go away. I mean, his ex-wife. She said he just hates to lose, and we all know that he hates to lose. But she said he needs to go away. But I think it's comical. But what is going on? I think the people are very excited. They can recount all they want. There has not been anything about fraud or anything that he's trying to demonstrate. Those things are not happening. I think, and I'm really hoping, I'm like, so what are you, after this is over and you'll see that you lost again, because what is it, 14,000 that Biden had in Georgia, like 44,000 in another state. I mean, truly, what does it take for you? And so he could take him and Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, all of them need to hold hands with Brad Brackenberger and go on. Just bye. What they say? Bye, boy.
Boy, bye.
Boy, bye.
Boys, bye.
What about you, Libby?
I you know what? I just think it's a sad commentary. You know, we have never seen this, and no, I don't think any of us are surprised. But I think the problem for me is that this is what you're doing to continuously divide the country. We have important races out there. We still have a lot of work that we still have to do. And if you're going to do this up front, and here's the sad part about it is, he's not going to just fade away come January once Biden squares his hand on the Bible. What he's doing now, he's going to do that even the more, because he's going to be angry and he's going to be bitter and upset. So he's going to continue to try to keep this strife and division going. So regardless of whether, you know, Biden and Harris get into the office, and I'm happy and I'm excited about it. My biggest concern is what's going to happen going forward if the Republican Party remain afraid of him and hold him accountable, because this is going to affect us elections to come. And guess what? We still have another election in 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And
the work that he's going to do from now and then is going to be critical. So we've done well, and we've really come out in droves, but you have to remember there were some Republican people that only voted for Biden because there's no other Republican choice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the way we handle this too, Libby, you and the way we handle this determines history, how we're going to handle other elections. So does every sitting president get to throw a tantrum and say they're not willing to give up power? So like, what if Trump just decides, I don't want to leave the White House, you know?
Well, he's going to have to leave because the military is going to make sure he get up out there.
It's a way to get him out.
Because are we now at a constitutional crisis? Are we in a constitutional crisis, or we have not gotten there yet? Like, what does that kind of look like?
It looks like what it looks like now, because what he's done is he's called the elections into question. And this is different than Al Gore and George Bush. Now, don't get me wrong, there were dangling chads and people counting in one state. But what he has done is he has solicited the entire world into our drama. And so when you have a acting Secretary of State, Pompeo, go out and say that Biden did not win the election, that Trump actually won it, that sends all type of confusion into the world, because now they don't understand what we're saying, because the Secretary of State speaks for the United States outside of the president. That is the next voice that you hear. And with him saying that, you know, that Donald Trump, you know, won the election, I mean, people don't know what to do. Should we congratulate Biden? Should we not congratulate Biden? I mean, what's happening in America? And then when you have the Attorney General that comes and say, let's investigate every single allegation, that also opens up another can of worms. And then you have our crazy governor recounting by hand, 5 million, because anywhere you put it, 4,991,000. That's 5 million people basically. Yeah. That is a travesty. So he has created a constitutional crisis because no one wants to call him on what he's done. The Republicans are falling in line. Why? Because this man had think about it. He had 70 million people vote for him. That's a lot of people. That means he has a strong voice, and that's not one out of line. Because if they say one word, they're afraid that he will have somebody primary them when it comes up for their next election.
That's right.
And so they're not even. No one knows what to do, and he wants this kind of control. He just wants this kind of control.
So and I'm glad you brought that up, Dee, because I was really trying to figure out what is the stronghold, what is the weight that he has, and I guess the influence of the 72 million. You know, Biden had 77 million votes and some odd changes. Trump had 72. So then, of course, anybody on the outside looking in, we look like we're very close, split down the middle. You know, and so it's his influence that the Republican Party is afraid of, that they don't want to go ahead and say, Trump, come on out and just say you lost.
That's exactly right. And it means a lot. Believe it or not, he's already the front runner for 2024 if he decides that he wants to run again. And so he's going to use his bully pulpit. He's already thought about having his own network. He's already mad at Fox News because they don't cover him the way he wants them to cover him now. So all them jokers have moved over to Newsmax, and they've moved over to another America's Voice. And I know because I was on America's Voice yesterday and Newsmax today, and I get tired of they're worse than Fox News. And so I feel like I'm in purgatory. I mean, I'm not in hell, but I'm in purgatory. I'm real close to it. So it's really bad. And even on there, they're like, why should he concede? This is the conversation that I'm having. See, with us, that's illogical. Because in our minds, you should concede. In their minds, it's like, why would he concede? I mean, all the votes are not in. I mean, what are y'all saying? It's undemocratic. This is a democracy. I was like, ooh, child. I mean, that's so when you said, Vicky, that they drinking some kind of Kool-Aid, they are drinking Clorox. It's not even Kool-Aid. I don't know. Bleach. They're drinking that bleach that he told them to drink early on to get rid of that COVID-19.
You got Melania, somebody back there with a voodoo dog sticking everybody. Something is happening. Let me tell you, something is going on. Because I'm like, what is this man? I mean, but this is a serious thing. Like the hold that he has, control that he has over the Republican Party. No other president can say that.
Yeah. No.
I ain't never seen nothing like it. Not even Bush. I ain't never seen nothing like it.
But just think about it. But the type of person that has this kind of hold. This is very scary. It's sad commentary to know that he's this powerful over this party, which goes to show us the hidden agenda and the hidden stuff that they have been hiding for so many years. We now see what that party is really about,
right?
Who that party really is, and what they really want. This is what we see. They do not want America to be democratic. They do not want equality in America. They want a segregated, go back to Jim Crow day.
Yeah.
And for him to stand up and give them that, they have rallied around this man. For somebody to lose and they still have that many votes and the race to be that close, y'all, listen, they've already given him money for if he were to run in 2024, money is flowing into him. And so we really can't get relaxed.
No, we can't.
We gotta understand that we have not arrived.
No.
Because this is a serious thing. This man is going to go to work in a very deep, dark way over the next 4 years. He's not going to forget what happened. He's going to walk away saying that with the legal votes he won and the illegal votes he did. Who comes against their own Secretary of State, the Republican? Now, who comes against that? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's foolishness.
Well, you know, what I was thinking too, what is critical here, because this has got to play out, right? It's got to play out. But we have to get back to the polls, and I think that's something I would like to see us weigh in on. We have a great opportunity in front of us to flip the Senate, right? And so, DM, I think it would be good for you to weigh in, because historically, they say that we're not good. And when I say we, like I say, Democrats say people of color. We're not good with going back for, and the
I think
percentages
Vicky,
are very low. Typically, I know in our community, I know what it was like when I was up in two of them. So I want us to talk about the importance.
you're going out a little bit, Vicky, but I think we were gonna turn there, and one of the things I wanted to say is that right now our eyes are on Georgia.
Yeah.
And so we've never been there before, and it's a beautiful opportunity. But are we ready for that? What does this strategy look like for us, Dee?
Okay, so I'm glad you all asked that. But before I answer, I would like to talk about all this beautiful white that you all have on these pearls. Because I was like, oh, so they're Kamala style. They Kamala style today. And so then I had to go run and put on my pearls, you all, because I'm not at home, because I would have had on some white too. I carry my pearls with me. And you see, I had on several strands right now. Okay. So let's talk about what we need to do. So first of all, right, all eyes are on us. It is very exciting. That means millions and millions of dollars are being pumped into Georgia. And they are going to drag Ossoff and Warnock through the mud and back through up and down all around town, because power never concedes power. And so to them, this is about white supremacy. Believe it or not, y'all, this is about white supremacy and power. And they're going to do whatever they can to hold on and maintain a power structure, power base. And so historically, Black people do not, let's just tell the truth, historically, Black people, have not gone back for runoffs. And you have those of us who are super voters who are going to vote every election. It doesn't matter what's going on. No matter, you could be voting on an addendum talking about, would you like to feed the dog bones, or would you like to give them, pet food from the store? And we're going to go and vote for the dog catcher and everybody else and what the dog eats, because we're trained like that. We're, conditioned like that. But there are some, they only went in and voted for Joe Biden or Donald Trump and walked their behinds right back out. How do I know? Because you already see a drop between the presidential race. Even the next race, which was U.S. Senate, there was a drop. So by the time you got to the bottom of the ballot, it started dropping off as the seats went on. That shows that they don't even have the patience, generally, of being taught the education of why you got to go from the top of the ballot to the bottom. So then we won. So what are we going back for? I mean, because they still have not grasped the importance that we need to have these Senate seats so we can sit McConnell down someplace, and all of them cronies, they got to go somewhere. And so in order to do that, we've got to win. So there's something to my, I don't really care for John Ossoff. He looks like the Wonder Boy, and I don't want more. And I don't care if you don't like it, if you just, we do not care. I don't care. You better, let me tell you something. At this point in life, whoever y'all know, I don't even trust half the people. I'm going to start helping people get the absentee ballots right now. I don't care. Because really, that's illegal. So let me tell you what we say. Let me reword this. Let me reword this. If by chance you know that someone that may not be able to go back to the polls, it would be nice if you encourage them highly to do their absentee ballots and get them in. But as for me, I know some people who are not going to do it, and the old D just would have sent those ballots in. I'm gonna say it like that. The old D would send them ballots in.
Listen, let's just make sure we get
not get myself in trouble. But you know what I mean. Y'all better get them ballots and y'all better send them in for people, because I'm telling you what's going to happen. We're gonna fall short if we don't.
That's it.
And listen, look how many people voted, y'all. We're talking about almost 5 million people voted.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get 5 million people to come back out, and trust me, the other side will come back out, because that's how they used to beat us all the time in runoffs.
That's right.
That's how we'll come back out. So now we're gonna have to drag people by the hand and do their absentee ballots for them. I promise you we can do it.
Yeah. But we have to educate them, though, because I don't think they even understand the importance of the Senate race. So it's like, okay, you have to go back out and vote, because this piece is the part that they totally miss. They understand the presidential race, but they don't understand Well, I don't know. That's what I'm running into with people. Are you all not running into that?
Well, I mean, I think it's that, but I just think overall, I think D is right. I think what happens is it's not necessarily presidential. It could be, any other election. I think what happens is the runoff was never created for us anyway. This runoff piece was created for something else, and so that something else is very white oriented. And so, in that regard, the runoff has been created for them to win. And so, we have never understood the election process.
Right.
Forget just whether the Senate race, we don't really understand the branches. We just know that if a lot of us know that if we got to vote, we need to go and vote one time. They don't understand the runoff part. And so it doesn't matter what election it is, the runoff piece makes no sense, because here's what people think about runoffs. They don't think they matter. Although they're having to vote again for somebody, they still don't think that it matters. And so the biggest push that we have to do, yes, we do have to educate, but we got to make them get these absentee ballots.
I think we got to keep that energy. You got to keep that energy. And I think it's on the same thing that you did, short of, getting 4,000 t-shirts. You still got to do that again. I mean, you still got to do that again. You got to have the same energy for this Senate runoff as we had to vote in Biden and Harris. And so we have to have all of those posts we put out. We have to go back, get the Divine Nine to come back out and stroll again. I mean, we just got to reach back out to all of those people who had that kind of energy, months ago up until, November 3rd. We got to just have that same amount of energy coming into January 5th, and just keep talking. We just got to keep talking like we're doing tonight. Thursday nights, we just got to encourage folks. Look here, I'm going to need you to go vote and grab 4 or 5 of your friends in your circle, get your church members, however you got to do it. We just have to continue to put that message out there and keep the energy level and the excitement up, because we too like excitement. We love it. And so we just got to make people feel excited about going back to the polls and what this will mean.
And
I agree with you, Joyce, because you're right. The same excitement. We got to keep the momentum going. I agree. Everything we've done, try to get to this point, we have to continue it. I think it was awesome how all the organizations, the national presidents brought together and mobilized all the organizations, the AKAs, the Deltas, the Links, the 100 Black Women, the NCNW women really went out, and everybody from Michelle Obama to Valerie Jarrett, they had all these We Vote, Stacey Abrams, everybody was really to the point you was driving people insane. People were saying, stop texting me, because, we all had these texting campaigns going, and I would just try to encourage them. It'll be over soon, but this is something we got to do. But I agree with Phil. We got to continue to put it in their faces. And I know I'm truly going to do all I can in our organization, make sure we keep the momentum going and we keep Ossoff and Warnock. Well, first of all, our national president is a member of that church. So I know we're going to have to keep it out front. We're going to keep that thing out front. So, but it's exciting. Both of those guys, I think they're going to be tremendous. And definitely, as we talked about the Senate seat, a lot of people are really not that educated on the Senate seat. They just think it was all about the president. And it's definitely, we need the Senate seat. And then we're so grateful to have you to just share this platform, to just help us to understand so much that is going on. But one thing I'm curious about, that Emily Murphy, because to get someone has that much power and so biased, because she would not recognize Biden. So would she be able to continue to hold on to that money? Would she?
And the answer is she. So that's how constitutional crises are created. Remember, you asked that, Alicia. So technically, she does not have to release the money right now, but it's never been withheld. And so, what does that mean? That means that typically a transition will not go properly if GSA doesn't release that money but you still see the Biden campaign just trying. But at some point, they're going to put up the brick walls that they're going to need those finances to get this done. The mere fact that people in these type of positions, cabinet members, congressional people, governors, I mean, you have sitting governors now not even trying to acknowledge that Biden won this election. So this thing is deep, y'all. And I know we're trying to just ignore it like it's not happening, but this really is happening before us. And so I'm just glad people started talking about it really today. I mean, Nancy Pelosi and Schumer actually speak on it today because I think they're starting to realize, okay, they really are clowning and acting like this election did not just happen. So we got to have our voices be heard. But back to you, George, something you said, we got to keep momentum up. You know, Black people have a short memory. And this election is not until January 7th. Whatever that. Okay, so let's go a month out. It's going to be at least 8 weeks. What is it? 7, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 weeks before we start voting, right? Is that where we are trying to get this?
Yes, you're about right.
You're about right.
About right. So all, you know, by then we done got Trump to calm down. Transition is really moving. Everything is looking lovely. People into the holiday season. They're drinking eggnog, you know, going, you know, so now they're not going to be as excited. So I'm glad that the Lord's like, we're going to text them, you know, to mess out of everybody, harass them. But I'm telling you, we are short memory people. And
that's true.
Yeah.
In a month from now, this is old news. They're going to be on to the next thing. And so we got to keep them on this day. They won't get on to the next day. And I don't know how we do that, but some kind of way.
Alicia got to do that T-shirt again. Vote again, baby.
Oh, baby, vote.
And I'm telling you,
T-shirt got to say vote again, baby.
Vote again, baby.
But you know what? I'm telling you, if you encourage people to go ahead and go on the Secretary of State's site and request that ballot. It will be much better than trying to tell people to get off work. Essential workers to go back out and vote. I was monitoring the poll. There were several people coming and dropping off absentee ballots. There were so many of them. And the polls were virtually empty.
They were, because when I was taking snacks to the polls, I was like, what?
Because people had either early voted or they mailed in their ballots. So I think the strategy needs to be the strategy that helped us this last time. And that strategy was those absentee ballots.
Mail-in vote. What about our rural areas? I'm very concerned about those. I really am, because it seems to me that the Republican Party shows up really well in those rural areas. And the only thing I could think of is going through our Black churches to encourage from there the mail-in voting perspective. What are your thoughts about those rural areas? Because those people are going to check out, because that's where they kind of show up a lot in those areas.
Okay,
you know what? I think that. Go on, Dave.
No, I'm gonna let you go. Then I'm gonna go.
No. What I was thinking is, I think somebody mentioned it tonight, that the Democratic Party is going to pour money into these two campaigns. And we have to do what we did to get the vote here for the presidential. We have to do the same strategies to get the people out for the runoff. I don't think we can't afford to lighten up. Now we have maybe more resources. We may have. And if you walk out with a sense of victory, regardless of what the Trump campaign says or what the Republican says, we know we won. And we know that we put forth the extended energy. I was like Libby. We gathered up water, cold water, and was taking them out to the polls because we thinking lines were going to be around the corner. It was no lines. And so my husband looking at me like, you got me out here doing what? It was everywhere we went was no lines. So that meant that the people got those ballots. They went at the right time. I'm saying what we did, and he made a very good point. We have a short memory. as a people. And I think that statistically, they say if you get 6%, 6 to 8% out, and that's just in our local elections, you're doing good. And I'm thinking we can't afford to let up. So our churches must continue the momentum. Our civic organizations, our Divine Nine, all of us, and those even that have conceded to the front runners, those other individuals who were running, I'm hoping that they will invest in those areas as well.
Okay. Yes, they will. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've been doing. I was trying to be, low key because loose lips tend to sink ships. The first go around, and I didn't want the
Yes, they do.
I didn't want the Republicans to know what I was doing because you have to be like a stealth bomber. So what I did with Brown Game International and Black Pack, I went into all the rural areas in this past election. I solicited the help of the AME Church to help to put sites. And so what we did actual on the ground, boots on the ground, delivered via voter registration. We did it in Albany, Augusta, Columbus, Savannah, all the rural areas. And then I did a sneak attack, which they wasn't expecting. I took us all the way back from Whitman, all the way down to Miller, to Dawson and around. And so they didn't see that coming. So for the last 2 weeks leading up to the election, we touched over 200,000 doors. And everybody didn't know what happened. What happened was I did a sneak attack because I didn't want the Republicans to know that we were in the rural area. So you got to be sneaky with this whole thing. Because, if you're not, see you come. However, right now we got so much. So I was on the phone call with our bishop, like other pastors all throughout the Black Belt, from all the way from Thompson, Georgia, on this side, Friends by Day, all the way down to the bottom. And so we put a lot of money into that campaign. We put hundreds of thousands of dollars into reaching those people in them 2 weeks, and we're going to do even more of this around because it's key. I really believe that had we not done that, we would not have been in. Biden would not have won Georgia. I just didn't let nobody know what I was doing because, first of all, it's a talk. Have y'all seen that movie Antebellum?
Yes.
Okay, well, watch the movie, but I'm convinced that's gonna happen to me one day. They're gonna pick my behind up to someplace. So I mean, away from stuff. I really believe it's gonna happen. So now. But this is the key. So the rural area is the key. I promise you, it is the key.
Yes.
Put more money in there, but we need even more money. So I've been telling people, don't come from New York. And don't get me wrong. I know a lot of these people want to come in, like
they are.
Buttigieg and all these other people. And even today, when I was on Newsmax, I was going to move down to Georgia to help their side. But we need, give us your money. We know our state. We just need some money to mobilize because. They can bring people in, it's okay. But if we bring people in, they're going to label like Hollywood is coming to Georgia. The leftists have come to Georgia. Socialists have come to Georgia. The operators, New Yorkers, and everything else what happens in Georgia. So even then, we have to operate differently. We just need the money and we will disperse it where it needs to go. And one of the great things about what we did was we also created jobs in South Georgia. The COVID, I had 200 paid people on the ground, and they all make between 18 and $20 an hour every single day, 6 to 12 hours a day, depending on how hard they wanted to work. So it can happen, and we're gonna do it again. But I didn't tell a lot of people. Also, it was nonpartisan. It was nonpartisan. I need y'all to say that with me. Nonpartisan. Because they say I did anything helping the candidate, that's called collusion. I don't collude because I'm not trying to go to jail. Nonpartisan. That's what it is.
Well, that's great work, and I'm glad you brought up. I want to go to another strategy that they're using. The evangelical churches are strategizing. Well,
Listen. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I gotta hear your perspective. I really do.
Talk to me because I'm not dealing with that. I don't deal with devils.
Yeah. Roland Martin set the stage. Roland Martin.
I done just got custom last week. I can't.
Jet play Roland Martin.
Have they lost their moral authority? That's what I want to know. You know, I mean, it's one thing to think it, but it's another thing to reveal your hand. You know, you haven't been able to sit on your hand. You know, from of course we were talking about Paula White, but even now Kenneth Copeland. You know?
Girl, listen here. Please gave me an instant headache. I mean, when I tell you my whole headache hurt, my whole head hurts right now. Listen, more authority, it looks different for them. So that's one. So the question you asked, it doesn't look like how you look at it. They feel like they are the moral party. So evangelicals feel like they are very moral. They are the true Christians. They are the Jesus folk, and the rest of us are out here, for lack of a better term, playing church. And so for them, they believe they really pray for the correct leader of the country, and they believe that God answers their prayer. For instance, they were praying outside of a Secretary of State's office, praying that folk don't turn in absentee ballots, or that something is found wrong with the ballot. They were sitting out on their knees, hands towards the door, praying. So more authority, there has to be weighed in different ways depending on who's looking at it, and whose more authority is it, according to who. So you really can't use that. You really have to say that these people operate honestly in the old Bible is used as a tool of power and authority, and used to oppress folk and that type of thing. That's what they are doing, but they believe they are the righteous people. They believe that.
Let me say this too, Libby.
But they some ignorant asses, and let me say that, and I'm done with that. Here.
Okay. One of the things is, I think that they think that the Republican Party embodies more of what the Bible teaches. Now, they just think that.
I think you froze.
I'm very familiar with a lot of the ministers that that have come out with Trump, and I've been very, very disappointed. But I want to just bring something out, and that I want to just say this. Remember, back in the day when the Klan was very comfortable operating and parading, even though they were under hoods, they used the Bible as their guide. Just remember that. So don't think that just because we're in 2020, that still doesn't exist. Just because the Klan went into another mode of operation, that spirit, it is a spirit. It still is very strong. And what the Trump administration has done is he's given permission. It's always been there. He's given permission for it to come out full-fledged. It is what it is. But, and I don't want to get into a super spiritual thing about it, but this is a sign of the times that we're living in. Anybody who reads the Bible knows. And I'm just saying, when people call evil good and good evil, it is a sign of the times, of really a blasphemous generation. So I just think it's sad. I couldn't be more disappointed in Kenneth Copeland ministry. That's just to name one. That would take such a stand and disregard what people of color have had to deal with under the Trump administration, and those who think I'm just thoroughly disappointed.
You know, the thing about it, Vicky, I agree with you wholeheartedly, I'm one. It just makes me cringe when people take the Bible and twist it and use it in ways for their own advancement and glorification and power. That upsets me like none other. And this whole evangelical church kind of belief, and to me, and I have friends who are, evangelical, and that's what they're very strong in their founding, but they stand for nothing. And that has been my argument with many of them when I've had the conversation. You stand for nothing. All you do is you Bible beat. You Bible beat about all these things, but then you go home and beat up your wife. You go home and have an affair. You go home and abuse drugs. You go home and look at child pornography. But you are the one that's constantly standing out. See, they are used to wearing masks. This is something that they have done well. They've worn this mask for so long in being able, Klansmen, and walking around in these different companies and places and spaces and pretending that they're blending in, when in fact they're somewhere behind closed doors at night somewhere scheming and strategizing how to get Black people to get back behind the border, the fence where they need to be. So these evangelicals, when they stand up and they say the things, there was one video that I saw where someone sent it to me and they said, please explain this to me. It was a evangelical church that was primarily a white church, and so the pastor gets up and the pastor says, Joe Biden is the president, and he goes into this laugh, and the whole congregation stands up and they are laughing like. They're laughing so hard. I mean, that is crazy. And then of course, the camera goes and zooms in on this African-American male, and he's just cracking up laughing. And that was the whole clip.
Just Kenneth Copeland. Mm-hmm.
No, this wasn't Kenneth Copeland.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay, because he was laughing too.
This was a white pastor. There was a white pastor. And so what I'm saying is, that's the kind of stuff that we have to contend with. But guess what? That's in that 70-some million folk that voted for Donald J. Trump. Mm-hmm. That's what's scary about this. That there are people who really do not want to see equality in any shape, form, or fashion. And they are the ones that say they love Jesus. They are the ones that are doing all this mission work over in Africa and all these places. They are the ones that's doing all of this work when they're going into certain places. Trust me, they're sending missions all over the place. They're sending missions all over the place because they're westernizing anything they can. It's the same thing they did in the past that they're doing now. It's nothing new under the sun. Nothing.
And I guess one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up was back to what I talked about initially about us having to make sure that we're strategizing in the rural areas through our churches for this upcoming election, because when you see something like that and the outpouring and the effect of the platform that they're utilizing to downplay or disregard the win from Joe Biden, you're fueling the fire. You're adding more fuel to the fire, which is causing more racial divide, which now is pouring over into church divide. And so here we are with a whole lot of division and not a lot of unity.
That's right.
At all. So now once we would have to do even more work after the fact to come back and bring some resolution to all the mess that Donald Trump brought out during his whole time of him being in office.
Yeah, and I think one of the good things that Stacey Abrams is doing, that she's constantly getting out there. She's pushing, get your absentee ballot. She's constantly talking about how she's talking about the ground game. The same thing that Dee said: send money. Send your money, send your money. We don't need your bodies. Send your money, send your money. She's been on The View. She's been, doing all of this, platform work in different places. And one thing about everybody's trying to ask her, so what is it in for you? What do you want? Have you received a call from Biden campaign? She said, I am pushing to get Ossoff and Warnock elected. She stayed the course of what she's doing. Now, whether things happen for her, fine, and whatever. But what I'm talking about is that's the strategy. The strategy is to stay focused on the end game of what we're trying to accomplish, and like and the work that the churches need to do, especially denominations. You know, denominations got churches planted all over the place. And any church I know we do, I know the United Methodist, same thing. That's the biggest work of the church, and that's something we have done for years. We have to mobilize our church in these different areas and let these churches set up at certain kind of places where we can make sure that folk can get the help they need. If folk need ride to the poll, if people don't even know how to request an absentee ballot, or even just not fill it out for them, but be of some assistance to them, the people who are disabled, folk in the nursing home. We forget about there are people in the nursing home who can still fill out a ballot. Forget about people like that. People who are in places like that, we don't even think about making sure that I did for my grandmother. I made sure she had hers. She's in a nursing home. I made sure she got her absentee ballot. You know why? Because her address come right here. Her permanent address is here. And so there's a lot of different things that we have to make sure we do, but people do forget about all these other folk who may not be able to get out of the house, but that's the work of the church. Go by and help folk out to make sure that people can get what they need so that they can get out and vote.
Well, are there any last sentiments about this whole process? What is it that you want to leave the people with tonight?
I have one thing I want to say, and it's still not too late to do voter registration. We're still doing a little bit of voter registration because we have another few weeks that we can do that for the January election. So please, by all means, don't think that we have covered all of our bases. There are still people in Georgia who are not registered to vote, and that's very key to this election, in addition to doing our great turnout day. Get people registered to vote.
Yeah, that date is December 7th. You have until December 7th to get registered if you are not registered to vote. I think my thing is, in what I attempted to do for the Biden-Harris ticket, is to continue to encourage people to vote, and to help them understand what the Senate means to them. I mean, you might want to just dangle just to check this, because that's who's holding up, your check. So, I mean, it's just a lot of things that they hold power to that I think we have to educate, those who don't understand the importance of that Senate race, and do everything in our power to, talk to your circle. I know everybody that knew my cell number hit me up and said, "Did you vote?" I mean, everybody, and that was a cool thing, to hear from your circle of friends and family members to check and see had you voted. And think about, if we all do that, and if so many people do that, then we're keeping this cycle and this encouragement going. So, I think when you have a lane, I have a lane in the broadcast business, is that I will utilize all the power that I have, non-partial, and just encourage people to vote. That is a responsibility of mine, of being a brand manager. That is what I tell my host to say and do on a daily basis until this thing is done, at least this portion of it anyway. And so, I think you just have to utilize your strengths and do what you have to do to get people back out again.
And maybe we can come up with some type of campaign that, the Ground Rules Table is doing to continue, since we all on social media. And I think that would be good too, because people are really the social media is huge, Facebook is huge, and just to continue to put it out there, as Dee was saying, we have to put it, because we have this short attention span, we forget. So we have to continue to put it out in front of them every day, if not weekly, and just continue the momentum going. And I think that would work, but we have to do the best we can, because we all played a big part in getting Joe Biden elected and Kamala Harris, whether it's you went to the polls to vote. That right there, if that's all you did, was great. But people call people on the phone, people text people work with We Vote, people were on conference calls. Just people did so many things. So we need those same people to continue to go out there. And Vicki, I think that was a great idea what you were doing when you were riding around your neighborhood when Joe Biden, they had been announced that they had won. We could ride around talking about vote. Go back to the polls.
Yeah, we'll pile up and
we could do something like that on a weekend.
You know what? I want to say this, and I echo everything that has been said thus far. To leave a tidbit, you know, when you've been working and you've been laboring out in the field so long, it's a tendency to get tired. It really is. Mm-hmm. This is laborious, but and then after you have a sweet victory,
yes,
then you think you can pull back and relax.
Yes.
But what I want to leave tonight is there's yet still work done. And if we're not careful, because somebody said something to me and it bears repeating, and you take it to mean whatever. While we're dreaming, they are scheming. Mm-hmm. And so if there's a tendency for us to fall asleep, to be lulled to sleep from laboring and from working, we cannot afford to fall asleep because there's still yet work that must be done. That's it.
Well, I want to say you ladies slayed it tonight with all your white and your pearls. It's great to be a woman in America right now, and it's even greater to be an African American black girl, black woman right now with a VP. Get ready to take it to DC. Come on, y'all. And one thing I like about when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did their victory speech that really moved me to tears, and even Kamala Harris even later tweeted about, she gave African American women a shout out. She did. She said, because of you, African American women. And so for those of you that are watching tonight that are African American women, thank you for holding this country to the fire, to making it to the polls, to making sure that all of your nephew, nieces, and everybody was voting. We know it was because of you, because of things you said at your dinner table, and we know it's because of your leadership. And so I just want to say thank you to my sisters, to my co-hosts, to Dee tonight for being here on tonight. You guys are fabulous, and you guys here on tonight. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us at the Grown Folks Table. Please go out and subscribe to our podcast. We are on all podcast channels. Please make sure you subscribe to our Facebook page and share. That's the one thing we ask you to do, is to share. If you like what you're seeing, drop a note in our comments and make sure that you share our video with all your friends. Good night.